summons your type. Now relax, that's a test, don't freeze up tonight. Best no friendo energy, battlefield IQ, boogie woogie timing, now you don't know what's true. One clap, switch places, now I'm in your blind spot. Muscle memory, dancing while your guard freezes up. Cursed energy, flowing like I planned it. I don't need destiny, I hand it. You pilot fear, I pilot trust. You hesitate, I AD just. I don't care about logic or reason, I grin. If my brother's with me, then we're guaranteed wins. You're fighting alone in a giant disguise. I fight with applause and the crowd in my mind. Position change, now you're late. Fate rearrange, checkmate. You think you're chosen cause the sky calls your name. I choose when and where you feel the pain. Position change, now you're late. When and where you feel the pain. Spear elonging is tearing clouds apart. Divine judgment name is straight from my heart. Shinji screams I'm doing this for everyone. Total laughs bro, this is where it gets fun. I look up, feel the shadow descend, but I'm not done. I call in a friend, me Yamaru, metal screams alive. Cannon charging while the seconds collide. Guy is locked in, Eva can't move. Too much pressure, nothing to prove. I clap once more, the world rewires. Angles bend to my desire. Swap you right into the blast. No time to think, no past. You carried the world till it broke your spine. I carry my brothers and that's why I win. You fought hard, but teamwork wins.
The sky splits open. A spear meant to rewrite the world. But shadows answer first.
They said the world was broken beyond repair, so they put the future inside my despair. I must have run away, echoes in my head, while the sky turns crimson and the oceans bleed red. The spirit in my hand can pierce the divine, break every time I redraw every line. If sacrifice is what it takes to heal, then I'd bear the burden no one else can feel.
The world must end to begin again, then I'll take the blame for every sin.
Raise the spear of chaos high, break the chains that bind the sky. If the cost is everything we knew, then a new world rises through. You talk of endings, rewriting fate, but you never fought through the hunter's gate. Every scar I earned in blood and night, every throne I took was won in fight. I don't need a God's decree, my army walks the dark with me. You hold a weapon meant for kings, I command the dead and broken things.
Shadow soldiers march and rise.
Darkness answers when he cries. I watched the weak turn bones to dust, saw kingdoms crumble into rust. You fight alone with the sacred spear, I bring an army made of fear. Kings fall silent when I arrive, every shadow comes alive. You rewrite fate with sacrifice, I conquer fate with cold advice.
Shadows gather at his feet.
Thousands moving through the street. Raise the spear of Gaia's high, strike the heavens, split the sky. The shadows climb beyond your throne, a king of death stands not alone.
The battlefield belongs to me. Every corpse becomes my key.
Black tide surges, endless waves, shadow soldiers from the grave. The spear cuts light across the air, but every strike meets armies there. You fight to end the world in flame, I fight to rule what death became. Even God's will kneel and fall when the shadow monarch calls.
Raise the spear of Gaia.
City, Brick City. Drew no zeros, yeah, my hand looking gritty. Brick City, Brick City. Missed my curve again, now the board looking empty. Brick City, Brick City. Shuffle up once, but the deck stays stingy. Brick City, Brick City. Need a playable start, but the deck ain't with me. Pull 5 cards, man, I swear this a tragedy. All once, no gas, ain't nobody battling me. Mullet down, praying hard, trying to fix the calamity. Flip the 6, still dead, that's a brick catastrophe. Opponent laughing, they already on 3. While I'm sitting here passing, ain't no tempo for me. Try to dig, try to draw, but the deck disagree. Hit another blank card like it's mocking my dreams. Every round, same sound, shuffle, despair. Drop my hand on the mat, saying this ain't fair. Got the combos in deck, but they never appear. Feel like bricking so hard that I'm stuck in midair. Brick City, Brick City. Drew no zeros, yeah, my hand looking gritty. Brick City, Brick City. Missed my curve again, now the board looking empty. Brick City, Brick City. Shuffle up once, but the deck stays stingy. Brick City, Brick City. Need a playable start, but the deck ain't with me. When the deck don't vibe, everything goes wrong. I'm trying to hit my turn 3, but the gas ain't strong. See my opponent pop off while my soul's withdrawn. Got me humming sad noises like a funeral song. But next match I'm alive, yeah, I'm ready to snap. Draw the perfect start and then I'm setting the trap. Play the 0, play the 1, no more falling in gaps. Brick City in the past, now I'm taking it back still. Brick City, Brick City. We all been there when the deck ain't pretty. Brick City, Brick City. But tomorrow we shuffle and pray for committee. Yeah. Still in the rain.
It is good stuff. It is. I think it's important.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing today in the TCG land and Union Arena? I'm going to shout out you guys specifically because that's my baby and I don't care about anybody else. So this is yet another round table that we have coming at you. This time we are talking about building a TCG community the right way. This is not necessarily to say the way to do it to be able to fill your pockets with as much cash as you possibly can and get out of there, but the way to build a community in order to build trust within it, in order to make sure that the players and the people engaging with it and the people who are collecting it are the focus of it, and to make sure that it stays a fun and positive space. So with me today, I have 3 individuals that I have deemed some of the best people in the community space that I've met in the TCG space over the past 1.5 to 2 years. And I want to showcase them and have them discuss about their own little things that they do for our community in order to make sure it stays amazing. So let's start with the first guy that most people might not know unless they're on the Facebook groups, Ron.
Hello, everybody.
All right, Ron, give us your background.
Oh, background. Oh, man. My real background has nothing to do with TCG space. I actually work in the medical field, in surgery specifically, but I started getting back into the TCG space, I'd say, like since I started going to Gen Con, which is about 4 years ago.
Mhm.
And then I first saw the poster in the front of the building that says, Union Arena, which I knew nothing about. But I saw Demon Slayer on there, and I was like, oh, wow, that's on there? One Punch Man? Oh, sold. I was getting into anime more outside of my, like Naruto, Dragon Ball, because I'm an old school guy. Those were like my OG anime space back in the day. So everything out now, the only reason I've ever watched them is because of Union Arena. So it's kind of promoted a lot of things for me and the culture of it all, because it's such a unique space to have diversity, TCG, fun gameplay. So anyways, did the demo, had a blast, took it home. I got into other different TCGs as well, like Universes, got back into Magic, just to dabble, because I've been out of it since like 2009, which seems like a lifetime ago now. And I wanted to see what's good and what's new. And I didn't like a lot of stuff that's on the current media. So what really got me into it was actually I taught my 10-year-old son how to play it when he was like 9, and he loved it. I'm like, wow, this is kind of easy. He knew how to play the app. Okay, we have something here. So we started playing. I started going to locals. I met, I think a lot of people know, like Cosmic, the other content creator at the time. He was more in the TCG space. So he's a local for me in Michigan. So we talked, we played UA, blah, blah, blah. He taught me some of the rules, got into it more. Needless to say, I got more involved with the community just by like posting stuff, like getting up to date with the news, sharing with everybody, blah, blah, blah. And I noticed the other admins and mods, they weren't really as active. So I was like, hey man, you want to make me a mod? Let me just kind of like take over some of this stuff for you guys, since you guys are busy and kind of all over the place. I can be kind of a focus point to the TCG. So anyways, here I am a year and a half later. The other UA page I started with that had like 2,000 is now up to 10,000 people. And then I left that, started this other new one that was kind of like it wasn't really active. I brought it back to life, and now we're getting near back to 10,000 community members now with this. So I'm trying to create it to be one big space. I do want it to be a hybrid right now. That's why I'm trying to engage people in the community. So it's not just a marketplace, but it's also like, a knowledge based area for people to learn the game itself. So
awesome.
that's
Thank you very much, Ron. And moving on, Rick, tell us your little background in the TCG space and what you do for it.
Yeah. So I can tell you the exact date that I started getting into TCGs. It was August 21st, 5 years ago. So a little less than 5 years ago. And I started with Pokemon, just sorting bulk and uploading that to eBay. And I just fell in love with like just sorting cards. That's kind of my thing. And just like sitting there and getting all the different things. And next thing you know, I was trying to complete a master set of all the Sword and Shield sets. I think I got up to like a 96% master set of all the Sword and Shield. And then my wife and I, we were dating at the time, went through some immigration stuff. I ended up liquidating all that and we did get the green card. So it was all worth it. The investment was good. And now I think I have like 60% master sets. I'll have to go back eventually and fill those. So after that, I was doing Pokemon, the LGS where I was buying stuff. It's called Chewyverse up in Stafford, Virginia. And he was just like, man, you should get on this app called Whatnot. I'm like, nah, that's not me, man. That's not me. And he's like, bro, you'd be real good at it. And I'm like, nah, that's not me. That's not me. So I get on. I was like, all right, out of frustration, I was like, I'll do it. And my first stream was horrible. I think I actually cried. Embarrassed to say it, but I was just like, it was terrifying. Like, I'd never streamed before, and I'd never sold online before. So, well, at least live. And so doing both of those. So then I was like, okay. And I kept going. And about 2 or 3 months into streaming in the TCG space with Pokemon, I met a figure that I would consider pretty legendary in the space, which was Chum-Li. And I got him on Whatnot. And then I woke up the next day and I was like, yeah, that's like the Michael Jordan. And we're both selling the same thing. And at the time, I had just started selling a mixed IP game called Universus. And so I shifted my priority and primary product from Pokemon to Universus. Fast forward, several years, we did that. I think we did a great job of that. Sold a ton of My Hero. We came in set 1 and set 1 through 7, and then they decided to go Attack on Titan, and we still continued through there. And then as Attack on Titan was coming out, and maybe a few sets before that, because we knew the My Hero boxes were not going to keep coming out, I, was looking for that next thing. With Pokemon, I was able to go to Universus. So Universus, I was like, well, where do I go from here? And I found this anime in Japan that was being produced by Bandai called Union Arena. It was not in English yet, not even announced in English yet, but it was a great collectible secondary to sit on the table next to my Universus. So I just started working there. That's actually how I forged. It's actually in our Discord now. It's called the Samurai Service, where he literally can buy like a single item. But I started importing, exporting from Japan for UA. And then they announced English, which obviously I was like, oh, right place, right time. And I ended up getting this cool little box, and I begged my distributor to give me 24 of the demo kits. I think they came in 24 at a time. And I got the 24, and I immediately sent out a message. I think it's still on the Facebook page. Someone can go back and check later. But I posted, I was like, I got these demo decks. I will pay for the shipping, or we could split, whatever it is, if they're international split. And I have the 3 demo decks that I kept, and I ended up getting a total of 45, and we shipped out 42 of them. And one of those people is Roglin. And he's one of our tournament organizers for Rumble Rama now. So, however long ago English was announced was kind of like when I was selling the Japanese, and then it just rolled and dovetailed into the English. We did the demo decks. And then I would say kind of like what brings us to present is, obviously when we got the brick and mortar set up XP store, which was about a year ago. And then obviously through the organized play and all the other things, we were able to kind of enhance the Rumble Rama, but we've been doing it for about 2 years. But we were really able to enhance it, incorporate the pricing, and just do everything through the barcodes and the and all the fun systems that they have. But yeah, that's kind of my entry into how I got into this. It's probably a little bit more stumbling than anything. But yeah, that's how I got here.
Hey, stumbling upwards is stumbling upwards. We take it. All right. And then Div, our friend from over the border.
Yes, across the border in Maple Land.
Yes,
Hey
with all the
everyone.
goose.
Yes, with all the goose. Hey everyone, my name is Dev. Everyone just calls me Dev. It's actually Divyansh, but Dev is just easier. So my entry into TCG space started at a time when there was a lull period for TCGs. I was always trying new games, so I tried Flesh and Blood, didn't like it. Lorcana, didn't like it. And then, suddenly I heard, oh, they're making a Bleach card game. And I was like, okay, let's start like researching into this. And so I got into the Japanese side of Union Arena about 6 months before it came into NA. So I started learning what the decks were and started understanding it. I never really played it. The only time before this I actually played TCG was collect Pokemon cards when I was 10. So I actually never actually played TCGs. I dabbled with Digimon a little bit for like, I think 2 months when the starter decks came out, but I didn't like it a lot. So I only played it because my friends at the time were playing it. So when we went to the super pre-release for Bleach, me and Blank, who is one of my co-founders at Haven, so which I'll get into. But essentially we went to this and we were like, you know what? Let's just start making videos about Union Arena and stuff. So we started making videos about going to the release event. So our first video was going to the JJK Volume 1 release event, which ended up being a lot of fun. We posted it online. We got good retention from it. And we were like, you know what? Let's start posting. And then, rest is history. We started posting, and now we've become more of an educational guide source for Union Arena on that side. But I've been very fortunate enough to wear a lot of different hats. I've been fortunate to be a caster, a competitor, a content creator, a community builder, and a tournament organizer. So most of our stuff right now, we have 3 pillars at GG Haven. So I'm one of the co-founders and the current CEO of GG Haven, and we have 4 other members together. we tackle different things. So our 3 pillars, one of them is essentially our content, educational content, which is the most important thing. We've obviously thought about putting MetaFi guides and stuff, but internally we are very uncomfortable with the fact that we want to charge for guides, because we'll never want to do that. Well, we always believe like guides should be free and stuff. So that's what our entire YouTube is based out of now, is all complete free educational, learn to play, what to do with a deck, building guides, all of that. Our second pillar is tournament organizing. So we've been doing a lot of physical tournaments, in-person tournaments in Toronto. Most of them are either Riftbound or Union Arena, and we've been very successful in the last 6 months. We've been getting 64 to our highest number was 80 players for Riftbound high OPL tournament. So it's been a lot of fun. We stream them and promote them, and it's been a lot of fun. And then we also do Union Arena, because we can't forget the game that made us. So we also do Union Arena tournament. So we did a solo leveling one, which was very successful. We're probably going to be doing another one for Bleach, all of that in plan. So that's our second pillar. And our last and final pillar is we have Union Arena competitive players who basically play and compete in these regionals and stuff. So we make sure that, you know, we work together and essentially build them up. I play as a competitive player as well. I've been to 4 regionals at this point, and top 2, the one of them I don't want to talk about. It was pretty bad. I bricked on stream or whatever, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my goal is pretty simple, you know, leave every game, every event, and every player a little better than I found them, right? So I'm super excited to be here and chat with everyone and discuss how much effort and how much fun it is to grow a healthy TCG community.
Awesome.
Well
Yes,
said.
absolutely. And if you guys are on my channel, you more than likely already know who I am. But in case you don't, I'm Proteum Joey, full-time professional dungeon master. But also, more recently, since last year, I fell in love with a game called Union Arena when people were like, hey, there's this game that has Yu Yu Hakusho cards in it. I'm like, okay, I'll have to check that out. So I jumped in towards Hunter x Hunter. And after discovering Lullaby Anto's videos on everything, the OG of the UA space, I was like, there needs to be more content. And more or less, that's why I exist now, because I'm like, there needs to be more content for UA. And that's my full focus, to make sure it exists, which is why I do way too many videos and way too many live streams for the game at this point. But I'm so glad to have you guys here today, because this is something that I've always found very fascinating as someone who gets to talk to each of you in a more personalized forum, one-on-one, on a semi-regular basis. Div, we need to catch up more often because we haven't done it in a while, but you've been busy.
Yep.
But with that, being able to hear your guys' stories and hear about the way that you shape and mold things within this space, I want to be able to like project that out to the community and make sure everybody understands it and understands what, like, how much labor of love goes into this game. And every game that you guys try to make sure is available for people. So I want to start things off with a little bit of an easier question out of all the ones I have for you guys. What's something people misunderstand about running communities? And anybody jump in first? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not speaking for everyone, but I'm sure everyone will align with this. Like, so most of the people think about like we're just building events, but we're not actually building events. We're building reasons for people to come back and learn more, right? Because every event, every tournament lasts one day, but a community is what lasts a long time. So because anyone can rent a venue, run some Swiss rounds, and you know, there you have a tournament. But the hardest part, I think, is about when someone leaves thinking, I cannot wait to come back to this tournament next week, or cannot come back to this tournament next month. So that's what I think is what a lot of people misunderstand about running tournaments, right? Because most of the times players might forget the result of how they performed or whatever, but they really remember how you made them feel after the tournament. So one of the things we always do is, and whenever we host our tournaments, is basically when I'm talking to people and I realize that someone's coming for the first time, I go and ask them, being like, you know, oh, how far have you commuted from? Where have you come from? What other TCGs do you play? Right? Like those small questions, like immediately sparks that, okay, this person might be interested. And one of the cool things is people love talking about themselves. I know it's very contradictory because I'm talking about myself right now,
We all
but
love it.
people love talking about themselves, right? So if you can get the person coming in to feel like they're being listened to, they're being heard, they're being given attention to even a little bit. Could be as small as, like they're registering, being like, welcome, like super glad to have you. What made you come here? Or how did you hear? Small, those nuances actually help so much. And that's what I believe like makes running events much better, because you're not just running tournaments, you're building the community from the ground up.
Nice. Love to hear it. Anybody else want to jump in on that one?
Yeah. So for me, I don't host tournaments. I don't have any. Actually, I don't really monetize on this page. The reason I got into UA space is really strictly out of passion. I noticed there's a lot of facets that are missing. There's no continuity in a lot of the community pages. It's like they build it and then they're gone. And it feels like it's consistent with that, because I manage a few other, TCG spaces as well, and there's no engagement. It's like almost like lacking a soul. It's like putting a paper figure or a stick figure in front of the camera, and then you assume he does all the work. So for me, it's like you have to monitor like toxicity in community, looking at, taking away the bad apples. Sometimes you have to play the bad guy. It's more like, what's the word? I don't want to use the word like parent, but almost like a referee throughout the community. So it's like, those are the things that happens behind the scenes when people jump into community and then they see the engagement, they see the positivity, but it took work. It took a lot of work, to be honest with you. Like getting to know the names in the community, the ones that I recognize, the ones who are the legit people, the ones who are the players, the competitors, the sellers, the collectors. Like these names are like, it's ingrained in my head. I know who they are. So when I see somebody new, I always see something that like makes me think about, okay, what are they, contributing to the community? What are they at? What are they, a player? Are they a competitor? Are they trying to learn the game? So for me, it's just strictly just let's create a healthy environment, get rid of the toxicity, teach people the game, share free knowledge, share the news, keep them up to date, become like an all-in-one comprehensible like area to find everything. That's why the name collective kind of came up to me, because I wanted to kind of put everything together. The collectors, the players, the content creators. I mean, just everything, which I feel like a lot of them are usually segregated. That's why you'll find like 10 different, community pages on maybe one thing. Oh, it's all this one city does sports this spot, this one city. But then when you go into those localized territories, community pages, it's like, hey, does anybody know what this is? Well, there's no judges in there. Nobody knows legit rules. Nobody has experience. Nobody's like a competitive player. Well, that's why I kind of wanted all of it to be here, especially with UA being so young. I'd rather start somewhere in one focal spot to share everything. That way, people who can't travel to play, hey, they can jump on Discord and compete, right? Oh, I didn't know there's a store here. Oh, by the way, this other guy knows for a fact there's another LGS maybe just, 35 minutes away, but you didn't know about it because they don't use Bandai app. They don't like they're like that's the whole point. What I'm trying to do is just become like a resource for everybody to not just, to learn the game, to enjoy the game, and everything that encompasses around it. So that's, to me, those are like a lot of things that I'm striving to work for this community page for Union Arena specifically, because it's just so spread thin that it needs to have a focus. And I think if we do that collaboratively or collectively, I think the game has a better chance of like surviving. I mean, honestly, we're getting to our year 2, and I think we've grown as a group. Like, there's a lot more people playing. There's a lot more people collecting. I have people talking to me. He's like, "Hey, I'm noticing there's a lot more hype around this game. Is it just me?" I'm like, "No, I see the numbers a lot of how many. I see our metrics of how many people are joining the community and playing. Oh, by the way, I see them also in other TCGs because I see their name, so I know what they're crossing over, and they're I don't want to like destroy their curiosity, because I'd rather have them come here and stay and play for fun, because I think this game has a lot of potential because a lot of people love anime, and there's a lot of diversity to it. And they can just come in and play for a little bit, whatever they want. So I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah, love to hear.
I'll address it.
Yeah.
I'll tackle this question too. I think that one thing, and maybe this is unique to Union Arena and this community and the pillars, the people that are here and several others that are not here, that at least with Union Arena, my community and the communities of the people that are here, there's never been an issue too big or too small to bring directly to one of us, right? And watching how those things get addressed in the transparency, I think is something that a lot of people don't think about, that is super unique to at least my perspective on Union Arena and how important that is. It's not important to say we're a perfect community. It's important for me every day to find the flaws and to fix them. I'm addicted to problems. I'm addicted to finding them, hunting them down, and then also keeping that not behind the scenes as in like hidden, but just not exposing the, and I think that that's something that maybe on the other side of the playing side of the curtain, if you will, that people really don't see. So many times people have come to me with very legitimate things that had they come to me months before when they first evaluated it, they're like, well, I didn't want to bother you with it. But the people that then bring it to me once we're able to start addressing it. And there's no compliment too big or small either. This is just a random example, but and I'm sure Kyle, Ride My Avatar, for anyone that knows him out there, we were doing the leaderboard, which I do the leaderboard manually, so all of that good or bad is on me. So if there's ever a mistake, you can DM me. I love doing that, by the way, and I think that's so fun, Ron, that you mentioned that, because I don't want to ever give up the leaderboard, because while I don't actively play, I get to watch the kind of it's almost like a duck race, and then I'm updating it, and I kind of know where everyone is first, and and I'm seeing trends that maybe other people don't see because they don't, and then I have 3 names to remember: their real name, the name in Discord, and then whatever the heck they decided their name was going to be in the tournament that night. So that's always fun. And now that I've said it, I'm sure someone else is going to use that to their advantage. But I will say the other week, whatever reason, it was 3 different leaderboards that were wrong. People in the chat were like, hey, I don't have this many points. And I'm like, uh-oh, something went wrong. We immediately figured it out. But then the one that he sent me back was the software that was, doing it wrong and whatever. It wasn't his fault, wasn't mine, but it was frustrating. We spent about an hour just doing leaderboard. And I was just so frustrated. He was frustrated. And then I pull up my Discord and someone was like, hey, bro, just appreciate everything you do. And that whole thing, all the stress, it just all went away. And I'm like, you know what? Damn right. Yep. Yeah. Thank you for saying, and so I think on both sides, there's never an issue too big or small, at least for the people that I see here, for us to get involved and for us to want to help be a part of that change or whatever the solution is. But also, you don't know how stressful somebody's day is, and all of us have jobs and commitments and families. And so we do this out of love and we do this out of passion. It's not been profitable for me. Yes, we do have a store. Yes, we do have product, but people are getting paid to do the roles and responsibilities. I didn't know how many people were on GG Haven until Div and I really talked. You can look at the brand and see a single logo and think that's it, or it's just Rick and his 2 Huskies, because that's what you see. And then they don't see, all of the mechanics behind it. So the smallest compliment can go the furthest distance, and then the smallest or the biggest problems are never not important enough. All of those things are important. So and that's actually a compliment back to the UA community as a whole, that they have been so willing to just be upfront and honest about what's wrong so we can make it better. And I think that's super critical and maybe not as addressed in others.
Yeah. That is something that's definitely not been visible in the space, I believe, and it's good to have out there. It's everybody who takes on the responsibility of leadership within the community, we've dealt with a whole lot of stuff in the background to make sure that it persists. For me, the biggest thing that I had to struggle with is having to have people constantly commenting, oh, your game's dying, back a year ago when the game was dying, and having to suppress all of that negativity and find a way to just find joy in what we were doing to make sure I'm not broadcasting, oh, the game's dying, it's not profitable, you can't make your money, sell your slabs. Instead being able to transform that into hey guys, I'm having a blast. I did this really silly thing with Alex Louis Armstrong. You should look at it. It's fun. And try to amplify that while snuffing out all of the negativity, because that's kind of my response. If you do something negative, of I just snuff you out and then we move on. But yeah, I think each of us have probably a lot of experience with trying to maintain that level of integrity and positivity in our space. Do any of you guys also have an example of that? Even if you don't want to say names.
No, it's not a name thing. It just keeps happening. It's very funny because that actually happened this morning. We were watching a video which I'm not gonna reference here, but essentially it commented on how Union Arena has still like screenshots, right? And I'm like, it's been almost 2 years of the game. Are you still stuck up on that screenshot thing? At this point, look at what the card effect does. There is a card that has an image screen grab from the anime, sure, right? But look at its effect. Like for example, I'll take the 6-2 Millim special. It's such a strong card. Yeah, sure, it's a screenshot, but it's still such a strong card. Like, look at what the card does instead of just slaying screenshot. Look at how the deck works, right? So, but just to take that in a more positive way is sometimes very, very hard, but it's our responsibility, and not just ours, everyone, people, the community, the players, to sit together, or like, you know, when you're in those local game shops, when someone comments, just, you know, being like, hey, how about you just let's try playing the game, let's play a game, I have this deck for you, right? And I'm sure everyone in this call has at least 10 plus 15 plus decks ready to roll at any given time, right? So
I
just
have not counted.
I have a lot. I have to start labeling
I've
them at
lost
this
count.
point.
I'm afraid to count. I've never counted. I won't do it.
I know.
Personal or the store?
See?
JP
But yeah,
or UA?
that's JP or EA. Yeah, but at the
Yeah,
end of the
no,
day, right, just put that
But I don't
positivity
play.
out.
Don't ask me any mechanic questions on this, guys. By the way, I just support from a distance and look good.
Yeah.
No, you bring up a good point, Div. For example, like I have not watched Bleach yet. Oops.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of my enemies I grew up with, or even 1,000 Year, but I love the artwork a lot. And I remember seeing like a YouTube snippet of the scene with what's his name? Oh my god, I don't even remember his name. I can't think of his name right now. The guy with the crazy hair, he's a 5/1 in green deck. Toshiro
Kenpachi?
Sorry, Kenpachi. There we go. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Anyways, YouTube screenshot of Kenpachi doing this like crazy move in the background, and it's like, you know, it's fiery in the background. And I had a quick snapshot in my head. I'm thinking, I know that card. I know that screenshot. It's a special. It's a freaking special. And it was kind of a cool experience for me because I've never watched a show, but for me to tie it there from that experience, it was actually kind of a cool like perspective to identify that. I'm like, oh, it makes sense why it's a special. It's just freaking like, you know, like mega move. So I thought that was kind of cool. So for me, I don't mind the screen grabs. It makes the alt arts that much better personally.
That's my point.
And I think for a diehard fan, I think they relate to it better because they know what that screenshot is on that card.
Yeah.
So
I love the screenshots. That was another one early on people were always hating on, and I just like do you hate anime? Like, why do you hate screenshots? Like,
I know.
Have all of you seen Hunter x Hunter? I assume.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Not all of it, but a little bit.
All right, tell me this scene.
Yeah.
There
It's a
you
pretty
go.
good one.
You
It's a
look
pretty
at it
good
and you
one.
immediately know it. You recognize it.
Yeah.
What's the problem here? It reminds
Yeah.
me of the thing I love that got me into the game. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's also
No,
how I
agree.
reply to those people. It's just be a sarcastic asshole. But that's just you know. Find out if you bully the bullies, they usually leave. Anyways, so yeah,
I never thought about the screen grab because that was a big deal in Universus with My Hero for a while. The first couple of sets, I think. It's a valid point. But for me personally, this is probably only me. My introduction was actually sorting the bulk for My Hero before learning how to play the game or before ever watching an anime. So I burned and etched into my mind going through all the bulk of My Hero set 1, and then I watched the anime afterwards, and that was a unique experience. So I did not actually dislike the screen, but I can understand people wanting to be more creative. But that on a business side, I think people don't understand the licensing, right? So sometimes, and I was just on the phone with Naruto Mythos, and they're like, yeah, obviously the Bandai news wasn't the greatest. But they're like, what people don't realize is one owns the anime IP and the other has a manga. So like both games can be great. And they
Yeah.
will both be great. And one's coming out earlier, so even if you want to move to that one, you can still get your Naruto. So I think people tend to go to this or that when it can be this and that. Now financially, obviously there's obviously things
Yeah.
there, but I think that's something people should recognize too.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there's always these small little issues that like are difficult to address in the moment, but like with experience, I think most of us have gotten used to like being able to address that and being able to like swoop it into a different direction of being like, no, this isn't actually bad. Like a lot of the time it seems like, especially in the TCG space, a lot of people want to complain for the sake of complaining. And it seems like they just, well, I have something to complain about today. Twitter, like, and that's just how they are. And like, one thing I will shout out the particular Union Arena community, it's positive. It is
Yeah.
ridiculously positive. But they
Yeah.
always seem to like the community as a whole makes a decisive decision to like ostracize the negativity out of it.
Yeah.
Which like I really respect and I like. Which brings me to my next question for you, Ron. So I'm sure you have dealt with a few different uncomfortable situations during moderation because you handle the biggest UA community on Facebook. It is what, 10,000 people? 5,000? Which one?
Yeah,
10.
we're getting to 10 again. Yeah.
Yeah, almost at 10.
Yeah.
That is insane. I'm sure you've dealt with some like hard situations. How do you make sure like you're moderating those difficult moments fairly? And if you have an example of one, again without any names, like how you
Yeah,
handled it to
absolutely.
ensure like your community stayed strong.
Okay. Actually, I do have a good example that this just came across recently. So, I mean, I think some of the biggest, like the more bigger complaints are like, "Hey, I sent you this card, and it this one was weird. I sent you this card, and it for me to pick up this card, it actually charged me more money to pick it up from the post office." And the guy was like, "No, I paid the same label, did the whole thing, da 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 da." So I was like, "Oh, okay." And usually they're texting me while I'm in the middle of something. Especially the ones from the West Coast when they don't realize I'm on the East Coast and it's like
Yeah.
2, 3 in the morning. In any case. So this one gentleman sent a card to somebody. He received it, but in order for him to pick it up, he had to pay a smaller an additional fee because the gentleman sent it as a different postage that wasn't in that category, which I didn't know about this either. So I had to really dig into it. So I looked into like the USPS rules. I looked at like what's like appropriate. Anyways, going behind the scenes, essentially, sending and shipping. And come to find out, the sender actually did something that he wasn't supposed to. Now, he didn't do it maliciously. He just didn't know because it's a lot of people, like some USPS don't even see it. It just happens, it goes under the radar. And some of them do. And then they figure it out and categorize whatever that item was. And then, of course, the other person's left with that. So that's like something recent that's occurred. So after digging into it, I just, I text the individual. I said, "Hey, come to find out, this was it. Unfortunately, it was on your end to have paid the more expensive shipping side of it because of what you sent. And I don't want to force you." And I always tell them, like, "Listen, I can't force you to do what you want, but for your integrity's sake, because I'm assuming you look forward to sending more stuff in the future or selling it so you have a good name, maybe this time around you may have to comp him for that loss because he didn't know it, right? What you posted and what you sold, you did what you did, but obviously that was a little bit more complex when it came to the shipping side of things." So he was nice enough and he did it. He sent the money that was the difference to the gentleman, and I said, "Thanks, man. I really appreciate you doing that." I said, down the road, I'm sure this will come back to you in tenfold. I try to tell him, like, you'll sell more things when things are hot, and it'll be way worth more than that small little bit of a difference you paid for postage. I know right now it seems frustrating because it's a he said, she said, but technically, this is what's happening. So, but I'll keep an eye out, for you in that regard. So that's some of the stuff that I moderate that could be complex. It's basically just looking behind more rules. Some of it is just like legality of things too. So, and that's why I always tell people, secure whatever you're selling. Goods and shipping, unless it's like your best friend you're sending across the country. because you never know. The person can have like an account that looks legitimate. I can see when they join, but I also can see other places that they've done. But anybody can make any fake account and look like have history. So always play it safe. I always tell everybody. So
Yeah, I can't fathom what it is to like run and operate all of that stuff for it, because like I dealt for the first time ever with shipping an expensive card out, and I'm gonna spoil it. I literally just went directly to Ron on Discord. I was like, "Hey, buddy, I need you to walk me through step by step. What do I have to do? Tell me everything I need to know." And like you did all of that just like because that's what you do. You help people. And like you're not receiving anything from this. Like you're not getting any like benefit or recognition from it previously, but like without your assistance in that, I would not feel comfortable being able to ship out these cards to somebody who wants it for the amount of money that they were wanting for that card, right? Like we're talking thousands of dollars worth of transactions. I want to be able to go to somebody and go like, "Hey, can I trust this guy?" And you directly be like, "Yeah, he's cool. He's legit." And boom, we're done. We're good. So like, it is amazing to see that side of it on the like secondary market aspect of all of this that like really goes under recognized. That was incredibly helpful, and it's awesome to have somebody who can handle those shitty situations. Because I tell you right now, if I ran into a situation where that guy's like, "Hey, I'm paying a percentage fee," I would have a heart attack. I would have been freaking out, being like, "Oh, you need how many hundreds of dollars back?" Like, and like without your guidance on the situation, I wouldn't be able to handle that. So like, it's great to have people in the community do stuff like that.
Thanks.
Now, the next thing, talking about places in the community and stuff, another aspect of this that I cannot fathom doing, Rick, how do you operate a store and Rumble Rama and all of these events? You just went 7 days a week on Rumble Rama. How do you organize all of that in this space and like have like not go insane?
Honestly, it's simple. How do I do it? I don't. Other people. I'm fortunate that over the years that like, you know, I started my marketing business when I was in high school. And so we always had the marketing angle, and you guys all know Yuna, who has edited all, I think all of our videos, maybe not Ron. We'll do a video soon, Ron. You know, so we had the editor, we had the social media, we had the Discord, we had like a lot of those elements. But a lot of it is just, again, not letting anything fester, right? So I'm very responsive, like incredible. Like people freak out how quickly I get back to them. And I think that that's like super important, because that's the only way to handle it. Like you said, like it's a good question, you know, how do you handle it? If you let anything go, like for me at least, if I let something go an hour, I already have something else. And then another thing. Like just since we've been on this call, one of our regulars, I won't say who it is, he's a regular. He plays in every Rumble Rama. He's like, "Is there an event tonight?" I'm like, "It's every day, bro."
I know which one it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love him. And he's so passionate. He's always there. He's always there. But it's like,
Check the
I also have to
message.
remind myself, no matter how frustrated, because it is a reality that you get frustrated, and then it may have nothing to do with the person's request. I'm just in a messed up mood, or I just had a bad day, or I just woke my baby up on stream, or any of those things. And so I always have to take a breath, calm down, and realize, like, have I been in that situation? Have I been on the other side of that? Have I been in that person's shoes? What would the response be that I would want from this? But yeah, how do I manage it all? It's a team. You know, Ride and Rogue are tournament organizers. They're how we're balancing, you know, pretty much all of that. Content creators are creating the content for the channel. My job is really just to make sure that all of the different departments are like stocked up, like the store physically stocked up. Kyle runs all the organized play for not only Bandai games, but Yu-Gi-Oh! And some of the other games at my store as well. And so just like, honestly, I think it's finding people that are valuable and then valuing them, and then finding where, you know, whether it's as this, you know, roundtable continues, hopefully, and we do, you know, more guests and stuff like that, tracking needs to be on here, right? Like super critical. You know, and then having tools like that too, right? Like imagine just what EX Burst does for all of us as a foundational tool. I think we're getting close to that with the sim. That was the most interaction I've seen on a post on your page run in a long time. And so I think he would be great. You know, and actually I just introduced him to the guys at Naruto Mythos. You know, and so it's, and then never denying the person that's helping you the ability to grow within or without. So I've never said, hey, you're just doing this one thing. That's all you're like, hey, bro, what else can you do? Like, hey, I need some help over here. So always being willing to take help and then valuing the people that are helping and then finding the best people for the best roles. But I still do a little bit of everything myself. And I think that's important too, that you never like stop the thing that you do in the beginning, whether it's to train somebody else or just to have it be habitual for me. You know, but that's kind of how to handle it. And there's days where it's overwhelming for sure. But then there's days where it's like a kid comes in and they're like, Mom, I want to learn Union Arena. And I'm like, all the bad stuff, all the drama, all the just like
Goes away. Yeah.
what deck is she gonna play?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I become a fan again, like everything, and I just become a fan again. And so it's so awesome. And also being aware of those moments, because you can, as a human, you can just get into the I've seen competitive players do this where, you know, they just don't feel like they're good enough because they're so good at playing that when they lose, it's like there's something wrong with me. No. Like it could be a bad day. It could be that maybe the other person figured out something else. So I think it's really important to just work with everyone that's willing to work with you. And then also constantly asking questions and getting feedback. And then, anyways, long-winded way to answer the question, but that's how we do it. It's not me. It's a lot of people behind the scenes, and not only behind the scenes, in front of the scenes as well.
No, it's good to go that in depth on this because like that is a very unique position that you are in. Like you are leading multiple people, you are managing multiple people to make sure like everything is cohesive, everything is working simultaneously, everything is flowing normal business as usual. And it's respectable. It is highly respectable to be able to
And normal is abnormal. Like getting used to no normal. Because if somebody comes to me tomorrow with an idea that maybe a week ago I wasn't the fan of, like I have to listen to that. We all do. Like the open IP thing wasn't like the biggest, like hyped up, but then when people tried it and then they experienced it, they got the real feel out of it.
Oh yeah. It's getting comfortable in this space, especially like as a creator, Div, I'm sure you could agree with me, is like something you should never do. Being comfortable, just expand, do more, like experiment. It's always fun to keep that flow going. Like speaking
100%.
of which, how do you decide what the community actually needs versus like what will just get your channel clicks, Div? Like Haven has been in so many different pockets of the TCG space in the past year. Like how do you help decide and facilitate that?
So I think one of the things we've taken with content is we chase questions, we don't chase algorithms. So the main thing for us is essentially like if when we go to locals and we are playing around, if 20 people keep asking the same thing at locals, that's probably going to be the next video, right? Even if it won't be the biggest one, right? Because views come and go, right? But solving a problem that lasts and gets you an audience, right? So for most of the times we're like, okay, so this new deck is coming out. Everyone is going to build this deck, but we want to showcase why you build this deck to face what opponents, how it does against the meta, what to do with it, right? That's for Union Arena. So I'll shift over to Riftbound, which is very different because in Union Arena, it's more like, okay, this is an IP, you build a deck, you're good. For Riftbound, it's more like there's a lot of people who constantly get into the game because their League of Legends champion is now coming into the game, right? So we want to start with yes.
Sorry.
Eventually it'll come. Eventually it'll come, right? I've been waiting for Evelyn for a while too, and she's finally coming. But essentially, the way we want to do our guides and educational stuff is we take the cards that are already there and we question ourselves, being like, if I was, let's say in this case, a Fiddlesticks fan, what would I like to do? right? So what questions would I have looking at the card effects and everything? And then we break down the script and break down the video that way. So that's what we do. Obviously, we have some videos that we clickbait title for sure, because that's just part of the process. You got to do a little bit of that, right? That's okay, right? But most of our content pieces come from asking the question. And secondly is, the biggest thing is, would we watch this video? Because if we won't watch this video, we don't want to put it out. That's our biggest thing. That's basically how we decide our content. This is basically secrets coming out. The other thing I'll say is, if anyone wants to ever stop making content, don't think about it, just do it.
Yeah.
It could be like the worst thing ever, right? You literally take a video camera. Our first video was literally me with a phone camera vlogging us playing JJK release event at locals. That was our first video. So just start. You do not have to have this lighting that I have over here, this webcam, this mic. You don't need any of that. Just start. That's what I always say to everyone, right? So sometimes people like seeing genuine stuff. Like what got me really good with, people at Play TCG and with all of the other stores and Bandai is our vlog series, which was Road to Gen Con, right? Because people genuinely wanted to see what Haven and the team is outside of like their their educational content. So we're like, you know what? Let's work on this vlog thing. It shows more of our natural side, more shows of more our personable side. So we're like, okay, let's start working on this. And it pretty much helped us a lot, so that every time now, every year, we're going to make it a ritual. This is also a hint that we're going to be dropping a new Gen Con vlog after this year's Gen Con.
Yeah.
But essentially, that's basically what we think whenever we make content. I'll be very honest, I'm not making as much UA content as the rest of the team is. But as Rick said, right, sometimes, yeah, sure, it looks like Div is Haven, but Div is not Haven. Haven is 4 to 5 other more creators, right? There's Blank, Carry On, 8-year Luigi or Squeegee, all, and then obviously our players who are also going to start making content soon, right? So I just want to make sure everyone understands that, it's a team effort that comes together. But at the end of the day, even if you're alone, like, you can just start. Like, shout out to like Joey, Demos, Wobble, Anto, all of these creators. They work alone, right? And they put out content. But what made them put out the content? They just were like, cool, I'm going to start doing this because either I have a reason or either I have passion for this game. If you're a passionate enough player, just start doing it. You don't have to top an event for your videos to get views. Just start putting out those views. You will get those genuine fans that love you and will start watching your content. And if you ever want to collaborate, please shoot us a message. We'll be more than happy to collaborate with you, play some games with you, do roundtables with you, and grow over, right? And sometimes that's what helps. Just helping each other's community incorporate with each other helps you grow even further.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well
Yeah,
said.
that is like the one thing I've noticed a lot of people are most hesitant on, and like I try to drill into their heads whenever I talk to them. Just make the content. Like, your first video will be horrible. If you go on my channel and look at my earliest video, it's deleted, but the earliest one you'll see is horrible compared to what you'll see like nowadays. And I'll still say my videos are still crap. I hit record and then I talk, and that's it, and then I stop. I don't do any of the special gizmos everybody does, but passion of content is something like is lacking in the TCG space in general, so people gravitate towards that. But Ron, something you said earlier kind of bothered me a little bit. You said like a lot of these spaces are like pushed outwards where people can hang out and where everybody can be, and like they're not all centralized in one easy to go to location. Is there something like people like Rick who own a brick and mortar and people like Div who do commentary, and like Div and I, like, we do content, like something we can do to help those types of communities grow instead of just using them for self-promotion?
I mean, engagement, just like how we started out, right? I started promoting news about the game. Here's what's new. Here's this. I mean, it's just research stuff, right? You're saving somebody from having to Google something or look at this site and look at this site and look at this plan. Like, they don't know anything about it. So I approach it like how when I was teaching my kid, what UA is about, what's unique about it, what's fun about it, the mechanics, all the fundamentals, realistically. And some of the spaces that I've joined has a similar, TCG name to it. It's like there's not a lot of engagement. A lot of it's is mostly like marketplace. That's why when I first saw this page, I said, it's got the community, but I feel like everybody just looks at this like another eBay listing. So to me, it's like it needs some sort of direct, like multi-directional, it needs to be just like, community engagement. People can ask questions about the rules. Hey, what does this do? I mean, we have judges on our community page. I mean, some of them are a little more quiet than I want, but we have a lot of competitive players here too that understand the rules just like them. So to me, if that access is a lot easier in that community and it's like you become like a resource, then yeah, I'm going to come to your page. I just approach it that way. If I'm going to that page, what am I getting out of it? That's really what I ask myself.
Yeah.
Why do I want to join this page? It's just like being in a club at school, or you're with a certain group of friends because you share like interests. So to me, it's like you have to kind of dictate to that arrow. Like you have to let them know, hey, we're a UA page. We share every kind of knowledge we can have. We love the same IP of animes. We love TCGs in general. Just all those things together, realistically. So if I was to start a new page, which I've done, which is it's pretty hard, even though like you're like, oh, I've hit my first 200 people, like, but getting to that 1,000 is hard because you have to be consistent every day. Even right now, I was asked to make like a new Naruto page, right? Because some people didn't like the other people running the other page. So I said, you know what? I'll apply the same thing that I do already with UA. I'm going to do the same thing. I'll moderate, clean up the toxicity, have good, reliable resource, have a good moderation admin team, and just have more engagement to that. And that's really all I try to do. And it's just being consistent, because it's like a marathon. It's not how fast you get from point A to B. It's like, who's at the end of that finishing line,
Yeah.
It is really interesting to see like how all of these different backgrounds in the TCG space, like it's kind of building an ecosystem of sorts of like how to make sure it continues to grow and thrive. I want to direct that same question over towards you, Rick. How can like people in our positions help out the brick and mortars? Maybe not just your store, which obviously buy his product, guys. He has a store. I posted the guest is right down there. But
Tipping the
The
cat up
product
was
that
in
we
this
didn't get
hand.
allocated.
yeah. But like, what can
Yeah.
people like us do to help out the brick and mortars?
So I'll answer this in two ways. To just like layman, just out there to anyone, have patience, have understanding, have grace. Understand that nothing in this industry is consistent from allocation. So something that you're like, man, that's definitely their fault, it actually may not be. And like I've had situations where I'm like, oh, for sure it's there. And then you hear the truth and you're like, ooh, that was really close, but it wasn't that. So I think the best thing that people can do, it's not possible to be only positive. That would be fake. But there is a way, I would call it decorum, right? What we have in our criminal justice system, like when you're in a courtroom, you don't have to be nice, but you have to have decorum. You have to hold a certain level of it's not going to go to this level, it's not going to get dragged down to this level. We're going to stay here. So I think everyone having that, no matter where this transaction goes, no matter how many fees get slapped on, no matter how many times this guy beats me, but I don't like how slow he's playing, and it's borderline cheating because he's delaying the, like I've heard so many things, and it's never black and white sometimes with these issues. And I think just everyone having a little more patience, a little more grace, and a little more understanding is, and I'm not saying that people aren't doing that. I think that is one thing that the UA community does do that maybe other communities don't. So just keep doing that. The other thing that people can do to help grow the actual community, like you said, invite a friend. These games are fun. That's why we're here. I would say of all the card games, Lorcana, Magic, all these other games, Union Arena, when people come to webcam, so this is kind of and not jumping off subjects here, but there's kind of been this mentality, and I've dealt with this at the manufacturer level, where they're like, we don't want to do webcam because that takes away from stores. It's like, well, I do both. So I can speak to that, right? I can speak to being a streamer at the same time. They're all three different. E-commerce, brick and mortar, and streaming. They're all very different. They all have their own elements. But I think that, bring a friend. To go from 1 to 2 is the most important number. those two tell two, like, and then now you're firing. You know, and I think it's really important that if we love this game so much, don't keep it a secret, right? And one other thing that I also noticed is that the Union Arena community has a desire to go offline. Like, there are real friendships that people really have, and I've heard people, how far are you from this? Okay, are you, where's your LGS? So I think that as the Union Arena space gets bigger, and maybe this is something we can do in a poll or something like that, it'd be awesome to understand where are these pockets of people that can go physically shake that hand, or whoop that butt, whatever it is. But like, I think that there's a desire to have that physical connection with people, and I think that having that there, because webcam is something where you can show up and then disappear with a screen name and never really create that bond. And so I think it's important to do both of those things. Again, long-winded answer, but
Yeah.
I think they're equally important, for how somebody can contribute to it. But also just show up, just be a part of it. If you're having a bad day, show up. If you're having a great day, show up. If you're having a day in the middle, show up. Like, be present. Not every day, but we do run Rumble Rama every day now. But slight plug there. But the reality of it is, like, people think, man, I wasn't, I've seen this before. I wasn't having a good day. Sorry, couldn't make it. Even more reason, because the people there probably would have cheered you up, So I think it's important for people to show up and be present and understand that nothing is perfect. And especially with UA, people are very responsive. They're caring, they're kind, and they're willing to listen. And not only are they willing to listen, Ron articulated earlier, we're willing to get involved when needed as well. And I think that's super critical.
I want to add on to your thing. I think you're right. You do need both, because in the space you have the introverts, right? And then you have your extroverts. And I think with having the webcam, that kind of helps cater to that. And people who don't have locals as well. I think that's really great to have that too. I have a good story, because there's this one community I travel a lot for my job. So I went to this community. It's about, if I had to drive out there, it would have been like 2.5 hours. But I was fortunate because I was there for a week. Got to know the owner, got to know the daughter that helped run a lot the UA events specifically, because they did multiple TCGs. They had 2 people that would come in, 2 or 3 that would play the UA. And I was like, because I looked at the app, I said, hey, you guys have UA here, I heard. Yep. But if you Google their brick and mortar store, they're a board game store. You can't even Google them, their store to know as a TCG space unless you know them locally. So what I started doing throughout my travels, and that's probably why you guys see me sometimes make a post like, hey, there's a store over here, by the way. That sparked that store's like crowd. And the last time I went there, the last recent post I made with them, they had 20 people in that store playing UA.
Nice.
For Tokyo Ghoul, right? The owner couldn't believe it. He said, I said, to this day, I still can't believe that we're at the 20 when we were literally 2 people like playing a game. So what I would suggest to other stores, promote your stores. Promote like videos, clips, your crowd, your community, whatever it is, to show that you guys exist in this space. So that way people know, hey, by the way, because people reached out to me I'll see in the comments, they'll say, oh, I didn't know that you guys are only, 30, 45 minutes away. I mean, some people will drive out. If they love the game enough, they love the TCG space enough, they'll make the drive out. It's their once a week kind of get out of there, meet the community, make new friends. I mean, realistically, that's why you go there. I go to all these random community members, not knowing any of these people, but I go in, I engage, I get to know them. It's like their own little family. So it's kind of cool knowing that. And I'll show them on our community page so people understand, hey, these guys have this space here. Come visit them. They might be a different week from the other one. Maybe you can't go to this one. Oh, there's another store, maybe an hour down the road. So for me, like those little things actually help make this community go from 2 people to like 20 plus. Now their spots are all sold out. They run out of product almost every time. This is before solo leveling came about.
Oh, so when product existed.
Yeah. So when it existed, exactly. But that's my point. Like, don't be quiet. And to what Rick said, promote your, don't hide it. Show that you promote this game. Say you like this game. And I talked to store owners. I said, here's our community page. Show your page. Show your time slots. show where you're located. Like, it's a small little marketing place. It's free. It's literally 2 minutes of your time of your day to promote something that you're trying to grow. And you never know. And one community might not last to the other, and it might transition to this one. And then maybe they can all, pull together and go in one different store together. And then next thing you know, you have 20 people. So that's all.
Yeah, absolutely. It is remarkable what word of mouth can do for stuff like this, especially in a space where like a lot of other gaming communities, especially video games, word of mouth doesn't do very much. You look at the reviews, you look at your favorite reviewer, whatever they said is what you believe. You log in, you play the game, blah, 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 whatever. But like for TCGs in particular, if people aren't talking about it, if people aren't showing up, if people aren't putting forth the effort to like be able to engage, people will never know that it's there as an option. So like my locals was kind of in a similar situation where like a year ago I was traveling about 45 minutes to an hour and a half each way to be able to play locals once a week. And that was with 4 people. And like we kept trying to tell more people, hey, you should start showing up. You guys should start promoting the event a little bit. They weren't really excited about doing that. And then we just moved to the one closer towards us and be like, hey, can we just like pick a day that works for us? And then can we just like grow it a little bit? And then word of mouth started spreading. And back with FMA, or I think it was around AOT, when AOT was first dropping, we had 7 people show up and we were like, hell yeah, this is amazing. We got 7 people playing again. This is great. And then fast forward, by the time it was Nikkei came out, we were sitting at like 12 players. And then by January, we were up to like 15, 16 players. Dip down a little bit, solo leveling, dip back up. And now it's sitting like 17 to 20 people just like every single week showing up. And it just happened because word of mouth was there and there was people present and like engaging with that. And Div, you have an LGS that kind of benefited very greatly to the presence of Haven and all of that. What did all of you do in order to like facilitate and bring forth that resurrection of the game in that LGS?
Yeah, so there are actually 2 LGSs that we kind of had the opportunity to do that for. So essentially, this was one of the LGSs that was not playing any Bandai games at the start. Was
That's
only
rare.
doing, not doing any Bandai games just because they were very small store, right? So I went there for a super pre-release for Bleach, and I liked the people I played with and all of that. They were all mostly either Yu-Gi-Oh players or what was the other game? Pokemon players. So they were all just regularly playing, right? And so I started going there for Union Arena, right? I started convincing more and more people to come in and being like, hey, let's play this, let's play that. Eventually, I started like basically running the locals for the store. So I became a TO essentially and started running it for the store and kind of like helping people do fun formats, right? Like we did being like, let's do best of 3 2 decks. So you bring 2 decks, we'll do best of 3 and we'll see what'll happen. We did not exactly open IP, but we were like, okay, you can use like 4 SRs and they'll be the color of the deck you're running. So even if your main deck is red, but if you have 4 green SRs, they will be counted as red for that tournament. So we just did some creative stuff like that, and I kind of bought it on more and more. And then whenever there was a big tournament, I would convince everyone being like, let's go to this tournament, let's go. And that's when it truly shined, because a lot of people started topping from this store, placing higher from the store, right? So now it became like, oh, Hope Club now is a very competitive Union Arena store. Like that's the place to be, right? That's where we have to go if we want to improve. So anytime before a regionals, there's anywhere between 32 to like 40 players. Mind you, the store only seats 32 people. So we have to like squeeze in
Let's
and kind of work
outside.
together. I'm telling you, there's a food court because this is in a mall.
By
And
the
we
way,
had
Deb,
to actually,
you know, Bandai now officially in the organized play, they've made it a rule that you can host official events offsite. That like magically came right as you were doing what you were doing, and then we rented the dojo. But we'll address that later. Bandai, if anyone's watching, you know, thank you, but you know, but it's so cool because it shows that they're willing to get behind some of these things.
yeah.
But Div, I mean, yeah, you definitely got those stores up and
Yeah.
cranking.
And like it
Food
was
for
a lot
gaming.
of fun yeah, to the point like everyone now is like, oh, if we don't want to go to Hope because it's very competitive, we'll go there only for practicing. But still, there's a thriving community. It helped the local game shop a lot because they're the only store that has good allocation. Even now, when the allocation is not the best in Canada, even now Hope Club always has good Union Arena allocation, right? So that's what it became really good with. And then once we did that with Hope, we are like, okay, Hope is getting good. And then Blank, one of my co-founders, lives near this card game called Derpy Games, which their One Piece and Gundam was really good, but their Union Arena wasn't. So we started the same formula. And it's funny enough because the first place and the second place per people from the Canadian regionals are Derpy Games local players, right? So because we play with them, we practice with them. Like the amount of times the winner H practiced Red Eva against me, and she ended up beating Red Eva to win the tournament. Well, like go into the finals. Essentially, she literally was like, "Yeah, if it wasn't for you, like I don't know how to play against Red Eva. Like I would have had a tougher time against Red Eva. Not to take her credit away, but she's an amazing player, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I'm scared of facing every rare battle I was facing against her, and I'm like, oh god, why do I have to face her in a
Well, it
rare
looks
battle?
like I got a loss.
Yes, literally.
Just take the L.
I don't think I
Yeah,
won
yeah.
even one of them.
Is
But
that by
essentially,
Toronto?
yes, it is. But essentially, like the whole premise of this is go to your LGS if you are able to. Again, if you are able
Yeah.
to, right? Go to your LGS, support them. Like sometimes if the store owners, and Rick, you can attest to this, if the store owners realize being like, even if there's like 4 regulars who are coming and playing Union Arena regularly, you become like their like local person, and the store owner will actually go out of their way to help you and assist you, right? And will like I love both of the store owners, like shout out C and shout out Derpy store owner. I call him Froggy, but his name's Roy. Shout out to both of them. Anytime there's ordering for new allocations, they'll actually message a few of our players and be like, hey, I'm ordering these stuff for these. Is this a good set? They'll start taking your input, like, do how many should I order, right? Stuff like that. Like they will make you part of the decision making process, and it makes you feel so much nicer and so much more credible to the entire community.
I can definitely attest to that. It happened recently with Yu-Gi-Oh. I have 2 answers when people ask if we carry a game. If we carry it, of course, the answer is simple. It's yes, we carry that, and
Yeah.
yes, we host tournaments for that. If we don't, my answer is yes, when you get me 3 other friends and you sit your butts in those chairs right there, and as long as it fires, I'm buying. And the Yu-Gi-Oh guys are like, well, what are you gonna order? I'm like, whatever you're gonna buy. You tell me. They're like, wait, I can
You
do
tell
that?
me.
They're like, do I have to
Yeah.
pre-order? I'm like, no, you just tell me. They're like, well, what about this? And I'm like, that's not out yet. They're like, okay, cool. But I'll go put a pre-order. I will put a pre-order in for that thing. So I can 100% agree. I think people walk into a store, say they don't have this. Just ask. Be like, hey, can
Yeah.
you order this? I don't think that would offend anyone. And also understand they can't just demand it either. And just because they got this amount this time doesn't mean they're not like, I won't say which distributor, but the entire distributor swapped DBZ and Digimon allocation numbers. So I got my Digimon numbers for Dragon Ball, and I was like, and it was Friday afternoon, so understand I had to see those numbers, like really rethink life, the pre-release, like what was gonna happen, because like Digimon's nowhere near our Dragon Ball. Then I get a message on Monday morning saying, "Oh, we screwed up," and then immediately rectified. And so I think that people have to realize that there's really not a lot of consistency, but if you don't say something to the store, they won't know to order it. But for me, my criteria, if a single event fires, I'm gonna buy enough product that I project they'll buy the next week, and then if as it grows, I just keep buying and buying and buying.
No, absolutely.
So that's really important.
That is something that I think more stores can do to help their communities. Luckily, my LGS near me, they have always been incredibly welcoming to their locals. I love Rumble Rama, and I'm going to be showing up as much as I can. But like if it's my LGS's night, sorry, Rick, I'm going. Like I'm going to be there. I get 1 day a week with them. Let me be there. I love it. Which is why the whole argument of online takes away from IRL. No, it doesn't. We want to be in person at the game store. The atmosphere of game stores, good ones, are fantastic. Why don't I want to be surrounded by shiny cardboard? You're insane. But what they did is back when sets were like falling out of being popular and them not being able to sell everything, back when sets would actually sit on shelves, they started doing like, hey guys, these are the sets that we know are coming out. Tell me how much each of you wants, and we'll order more than that. That was their goal. They're like, how much do you guys want? What is your anticipation? So when one person came up and they were like, hey, I want Kagurabachi, and nobody else wanted any at our store, they were like, well, how much do you want? He's like, I want a case. They're like, are you sure you're going to do a case? Yeah, I'm doing a case. Like, I will do a case. If you give me 2 cases, I'll do 2 cases, but I'm not going to ask for 2 cases. And they sure as hell just made sure they got that minimum requirement for their local players. They were making sure like the product got in the hands of the players themselves as well, which is like another thing a lot of stores can do better, is making sure the product, if you have it available, gets in the hands of the players themselves. It's something like goes a
Did he
very
get the
long way for
case?
building trace. Oh, he got 2 cases. Yeah.
Oh, he's a UA millionaire.
Yeah. He's loving it. But he traded away all his stuff already to people that were the spares and just built his master set. And he's
That's
loving
awesome.
it. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's the
I
same thing for
always-
me. I was like, Tokyo Ghoul, give me a case. And like,
Yeah, like I always say, you know, like a good store owner just runs a store, but a great store owner builds a home.
oh,
That's I always believe in that.
absolutely. Yeah, I will always support them, even if they have to raise their prices a little bit, like within reason, not market prices. If they have to do that, I'm there. And that's what like good stores get from people. They were one of the only stores, I think, like actually making money post, what was it? FMA was the last time UA was making money before solo leveling, like actually making money. Like they were one of the only stores, because we would show up and we'd just be like, screw it, let's buy a box and just like have fun with each other and like enjoy it. But speaking of being beloved by the community itself, Rick, you've done something that for me has been a first time experience and amazing. You helped build Rumble Rama into what it is. What do you think made people connect with it so strongly to the point where, like, just a few weeks ago, you decided, screw it, we're going 7 days a week. We need it to be more available for people.
That's a really good question. So Rumble Rama was just the name for webcam tournaments, and it's still technically we run Rumble Rama for Gundam. It just hasn't fired yet. God willing, it will soon. And we are, I don't know that it will fall under the Rumble Rama name, but we are going to do a once a month My Little Pony thing. Totally random.
For the bronies.
For the bronies.
Yeah, Fluttershy. That I had of a niece. Go on.
For me, it was really easy. It wasn't easy building Rumble Rama, but we did it with Universus. So after all those obstacles and that came with its own positives, pros, cons, all that, right? So once I saw that UA was coming to English, I kind of knew naturally that I wanted to participate. Going back to the 48 deck or the 48 demo decks. My demo decks are in there, by the way. The 45 demo decks or whatever I got, 48 or whatever it was, and then I had 3 for myself, sent out 45. You know, I knew that it would work a little bit because we had already done it. And so I already knew that there would be enough of a demand to fire every time, you know, once or twice a week, because there's enough dry spots in the country where people just can't get to an LGS. The other thing I think everyone in the world should know, I don't know a single store that runs any game, maybe Riftbound, maybe Pokemon, more than one time a week. So even on a best game situation, I've only seen an LGS run an event like Pokemon 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. So I think people have to also realize, even if you had an LGS and you could walk out your front door and walk into their front door, what if you work that night? Like, so there's so many factors that are not relevant, that are relevant, that are direct or indirect, that could cause someone. So I knew that there was always going to be a need for webcam for any card game that I participated or got involved with. What I didn't know, but what made it so easy was, again, the people that came on board, you know, Roguin, Josh, being one of the first people that I even sent the demo decks out to, and just being able to sit with him and just bounce ideas back and then take the framework from the, you know, UVS tournaments, putting it over here for Union Arena, And then it had its own ups and downs. But it was fairly consistent. I would say, honestly, funny enough, not going back to, the negative thing, the one great negative comment that came out of all of the negative comments, because yeah, I do agree that the UA community was the guy that made the video, and I respect the heck out of the video. It was an honest take. It was the UA video that UA's dying.
Mhm.
I think we all saw it. Everyone commented on it, and I was mad, like, not at anyone. I was just like, like, "Rrr." What am I gonna do about it? Oh, I'm just gonna add another comment? Nope. I got in my car, I went to the store, I grabbed a bunch of UA boxes, and you guys can see the post that I made. And I think it was like several hours later on your page, Ron, I said, is UA dead? Let's run an experiment. I doubled the pricing. That's where we went from 4 boxes to 8 boxes.
Mhm.
We were only averaging 12 to 16 people. That's when we started averaging 18 to 20. So immediately when posed with the, is this game dying? Instead of just allowing that to sit there, we as a community said, you know what? Let's try it. Like, not even like you're wrong, just
Let's experiment.
let's make it more accessible and see if you're right. And obviously, it's not about being right or wrong. He is a store owner that wants to sell Union Arena. I'm sure he did that kind of in a clickbait way, and I'm sure he does feel like, hey, the game is dying. But again, it's that really helped catapult us, because I think people rally around, no, we're not going to let this LGS. This is our store. These guys have helped us. We're going to make this work. And that's one thing that I don't want to say is unique to UA. I'm sure it happens elsewhere, but it's abundant in the UA community that one person can show up to an LGS and change. And some of the stories I'm hearing on even this roundtable are new to me. And so it's cool to also hear that, like, it just further solidifies that one person can make 2 people, and 2 people can get a hell of a lot of people to play this game.
Yeah. It takes a crowd to make a crowd. It's old-timey saying, but it's true. It really, really does. But I'm just now realizing, Div, we have not talked about the commentating side of all of this, and that's something that I personally am very, very interested in. To know, like, not the specifics, but the overall things that, like, it takes to become a good commentator. It is very difficult, I've noticed, to appease TCG community players. Me being one of them. I have an incredibly high standard. I do not like average, and I don't like sub-average when it comes to commentary. I like esports. I like listening to people be professional. How is it that you manage to make it entertaining for the viewers to be able to, like, engage with what you were saying and what you were talking about without depriving the players themselves from feeling more well respected at the table? That's something I always think seems very difficult.
So this is a secret technique that I kind of am leaking today, but I believe that the best commentary doesn't prove how smart the caster is. It makes the audience feel smart, which is the most important thing. Because as an audience, anyone can explain mechanics, right? But great commentary tells a story behind, what decisions a person's making, so the viewer can understand why something is happening and why something matters, right? Because anyone can open up Xburst or any of the card databases and read what the card effect does, right? But it's about understanding why something happened and why something was done only comes when you play the game, right? So as someone who plays the game a lot, like even now, like there are situations where I might be casting like Haven events, right? But I want to make sure I understand the slime decks really well. So it involves a lot of research, right? It's not just you playing. It's like watching other people also play and what decisions they make. So one of the things I do is I go to local LGSs and I sit down with 2 friends who are playing slime decks, and I'll just be like, and I'll just use their names. So shout out both Jay and Chris, but I'll just be like, so Jay just rated Milim here, and what are the choices he's going to be making? I think he should make the choice of deleting the other one and bounce that one, because bouncing that one might have a win win played effect, which can be detrimental to Jay's board. So having those nuances and understanding and making those extra efforts into explaining why a certain player might make those made those micro decisions can matter a lot, because especially in Union Arena, right? Union Arena is a game which is very micro decision dependent, but overall leads to a macro decision of how you're winning the game. But that macro decision only comes towards the end phase of Union Arena games, right? You always, the main thing about is how does me rating currently can swing the board state in my favor. And if you translate that into casting, into commentating, that does a lot. That is just, by the way, one part of casting. The other part about casting is being approachable and personable. One of the things I think I might have only done it once, which I still regret doing, is essentially commentating on hindsight. So a lot of like, you'll never hear me say being like, oh, I don't think he should have chosen that life, or I don't think he should have swung with that one before, because, you know, he would have avoided the red color trigger or the blue color trigger and had another swing, right? I will never be doing that because that's hindsight. Him choosing her second life is hindsight, right? He wouldn't have known what her life would have been, right? So you'll never, commenting on hindsight is never the thing. Let chat do that for you. Chat will interact and let chat do that for you, right?
We will.
Right? Chat will come in and be like, hey, if he swung this, if she swung that, this is what's going to happen, right? So that's one of the things that I completely avoid. And the last and final thing is you'll always see me celebrate diversity while casting, right? If there is a person of color on stream, or if there is a person who identifies as a woman who's on stream, I will always go out of my way to make sure that I celebrate that and bring that to attention. Like this was very evident at the Canadian regionals, where when H was playing, I made it abundantly clear that, you know, it's important to see more women come into the space, because Union Arena, I think, is actually a game where we've seen a lot more women come into the space, or women identifying folks come into the space and enjoy the game more. And I think it is something that invites a plethora of different people to come in and play the game, right? So just incorporating that nuances into your casting also helps, because there could be just another random person just watching the stream just because they like, and I'm gonna give a shout out to one of my newest Haven members, but she was just watching the game because she was interested in Inuyasha, and she just wanted to make sure that, you know, wants to understand the game because when Inuyasha comes out, right? But I was just talking about, you know, about more when I was interviewing H as a winner interview, and I was like, you know, being very proud about, you know, someone who I know as a friend who's a woman and a person of color who actually topped an event. It was super nice to see, and she saw that and she was like, oh my god, so this is something like I can jump into and be comfortable with, because this community accepts women and respects women and respects people of color to join. So that's another thing that I kind of like put into my casting. And then this is the last and final thing, is you gotta have fun. Like if you're not having fun casting, if you're not losing your voice when you see a special trigger come out,
Let's go.
It's not fun. Right? Like if you might have seen my Nats casting, and there was a point where it was a special into special, and I literally went like, oh, and he sees a special and a raid and a special. Oh god, what is this player gonna do now? Like, and I like lose my voice in a way. It's purposely I'm doing that because it shows the passion that comes out when I'm talking. It's not me perpetuating the passion, it's just natural, because UA is one of those games where triggers can swing the game in any favor and brings more and more excitement to watch it. And if you as a caster can relay that excitement on the mic, that's it. It's not hard, guys. Like if you ever want to get into casting, it's not hard. It's just you show the passion, you show that you have game knowledge, and just show that you're approachable and a fun person, and that's it. Those are the three main things. But yeah.
It's a huge difference between a caster that is trusted by the community and one that is not. So like kudos to you for like earning that within the community itself. Like,
yeah, I'll be very honest. Like there was a time where I don't know when it was, but what event it was, but I was casting, and I think Joey, you said something about like, you know, we're happy to see Dev do this because he understands and everything. and I was casting the game, but I choked up. I was like, and everyone in the comment section was like, Dev. I choked up at one point, and I got a little emotional because I was like, damn, like people actually like my casting and love me. So that also gave me a little bit of assurance that I do suffer from imposter syndrome a lot. So it actually like reassured myself that, you know, I am in the right space and I've earned this, and it was not just given to me. But yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's something that I always love doing is celebrating people when they deserve to be celebrated. Like that's honestly why I liked doing the interviews for so long when I was doing is because I wanted to celebrate the players, the community. And that's why I started like doing collaborations with smaller creators. Like I want to celebrate them. And like that's honestly why I made sure like I was always working while you're doing those because I work on the weekends, but I was always jumping in the chat just to like hype you up because like you are well articulate. You do the job well. You've earned the respect from the community and you have earned the trust from them. So like when we see you up there, it's more like the community seeing us growing, all of us like doing well, being
Means a
able
lot.
to look at it. Yeah, of course, man.
That means a lot.
But there is another side of it where like there are some people and there are some things that people do that like cause you to lose trust within them, within the community, especially in different roles and positions you guys are each in right now. Rick, what is something that you see people do that makes you immediately trust them less in this space?
Very good one for this.
Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh.
You guys believe I prepared?
I'm trying to think about like how to address it, but like I'm very trusting as a person. So I feel like it's pretty much shame on me, right? When something goes left because I'm trusting in it and I kind of own up to that. Something that would make me so I instinctively want to trust everyone. So they have to degrade or erode at that, right? So for me, everyone deserves a first chance, probably a second one. The third one needs to be really like, hey, this is the like, so I don't really have this like mentality that I would trust people less. Also, for the level that I'm at, I would assume Dib's at, Ron's at, and you're at, Joey. There becomes a point where I have to just trust the process as a whole. Like the whole community. It's not about one person, one bad actor. Like I can't do private investigations, right? And I've done that before where this guy ripped me off, this guy did this, and then I talked about this. Actually, I won't say their names for obvious reasons, but this and this was, it might be UA, I don't know. It was one of the games in our Discord, and the guy was like, this guy's a blankety blank, 20-year-old do. And I'm like, all right, cool. Got off the phone with him, and he's like, that guy's a 20-something-year-old. And I'm like, you guys are both 40. Got them both on the phone. They ended up becoming good friends. So I think it's really it's not on me to trust. It's on other people to trust other people. Like, I feel like you should go into everything with logic and a little bit of trust. A lot of the things that I see, like when people post, I got ripped off, and it's like, okay, you did friends and family. Like you didn't do the good, like you didn't do the basic thing that is posted to do. So I actually think with UA, I don't really have a lot of trust issues. And as the community gets bigger, it self-regulates itself. And I don't want to say this to like, now everyone, oh, Rick trusts everybody, but it's like, I do take a kind of like, pessimistic approach to it that like, yeah, there's probably going to be something bad. We probably need to sniff it out. We probably need to go after it. But, like a couple of bad transactions, but not one bad transaction is going to let me not trust somebody, but a pattern of bad transactions. Or if 3 or 4 people come to me and said this person, but the unfortunate thing is, a lot of times people won't come to the admin with that. And then by the time it does get to me, there's 8 other people that all feel the same way. So, I think most of the time it gets to the admin or the moderator, it's probably already like, okay, there shouldn't be trust there. But I think the community does a great job of regulating that. I mean, if somebody does something weird in the UA chat, like somebody else is on it before I am. One guy was like, what does it take to be able to post in the buy sell trade? And someone put the eye emoji. Someone else was like, well, why do you care so much? Like, are you new here? And they kind of, and he's like, yeah, bro, I am new here, but I do like UA. And I went, okay, fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
and he asked me like, well, how do I get there? I'm like, I don't even know. And I don't want to know because I don't want to be like, this is how you get access to the buy, sell, trade. It's like, I literally don't actually know the criteria.
Be a part of the community. It's that easy.
Be a part of the community.
Yeah. I always reply to those guys and try to ask, what's your favorite IP? And if they can't answer, then okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of the people in UA are trustworthy and are worth, respecting for that. I know that there's several issues with webcam. I know that there's even more issues with webcam potentially in certain departments. But for the most part, I think everyone should be trusted initially. And I think that that's something that the more the community adopts, that the easier it becomes. How do you know whether the community is going well or not? The less I have to do, I assume the same for you guys, the less Ron has to do, the better and smoother the community is running, the less moderation that's needed. So, unfortunately for us, I'm sure after this, maybe it won't be that way because people troll me, but UA is, it's a pretty mature audience. It's a pretty, like we're all adults here. And I think most of the people that play UA, I mean, there's fun though. It's not so plain Jane that no one likes it. It's just, at the end of the day, people have families, people have jobs, people have lives. Almost everyone I know in UA works hard, provides for their family. So at the end of all this, we still respect each other as people, as friends, as colleagues, as fathers, brothers, sons, daughters, mothers, all that. So I think that's super important. And then, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately for me, I trust too much. So I may not have been the best person to do that. And what's funny is, I assume a lot of people out there probably think I'm the opposite, where I just don't trust anyone. And then, but like when I find a situation, like if it's cheating, I'm gonna track that down. I'm gonna do the DNA, the forensics, the lab, the spectrometry. I'm gonna find out exactly everything about everything so that it does not happen. If I find out about theft or stealing, same thing. Safety and security are two things I don't mess around with. And also, people don't realize cheating is like, it steals from the community as well.
Yeah.
Unless it's a major issue like that, I typically don't have like a one and done where I just don't trust somebody based on a single action, but a pattern of behavior. And I think that that's also something people should know. I know it didn't come up directly on here, is I've seen people get into a confrontation and one of them just leaves. Like, no, like bring it to an admin, bring it to, like, everyone deserves a second chance. And I'll say it again. I think these are fighting games. We're trying to win. And sometimes it sucks when you don't get your desired result. And I think we all have to give that, to the other person, that ability to, kind of resolve that. Also, I just realized, I don't know why I realized this. I have One Piece in front of me, Digimon in front of me, and they both say ages 6 and up, but Union Arena says ages 9 and up.
We're way more mature. You have to be 9.
You gotta be 9+, baby.
It's the font size. But
Ron,
Ron,
this is wait, hold on. Universus says 14+. That tracks. Magic the Gathering is 13+. Riftbound is 14+. I didn't realize they put the ages on all of the packs.
Lego is 101. They recently updated it because one of the people who is a voice for one of the characters became 101 years old.
Oh, so they extend the age range that it's appropriate
so
for?
that she can keep playing. Yeah, that's great of them. Shout out. But Ron, I want to pose the same question to you. Like, what is something that can happen that makes you immediately trust somebody less within your space, in your community?
Honestly, just being a bad apple. Like, usually they're the one that just tries to be negative throughout the entire community. I don't know. It's like, oh, you're the whole like scalper prices, or that's a crappy deck, or blah blah blah. Like, if I see that kind of personality, I can kind of already gauge what type of person they are. And to me, it's like, I mean, we're all here to hang out, have fun, have this, similar passion to the gamer we're trying to play. I mean, why condone negativity? Some people really don't know, like, the TCG space. I mean, I'm learning a lot just, growing with you guys, with the UA community, from being, like a player to like an admin role. Like, I'm learning still every day, new things that I don't know about. I'll talk to some of my moderators and admins. Hey, what do you do in this situation? What do you guys do? What's your take? Because everybody's got a different facet to them of what their knowledge are. But for me, it's like you can easily lose trust with people when they're just constantly trying to do what's best for them versus you or each other or the community as a whole. So if it's that selfish act, that's kind of like a red flag for me already. Like if that's your mentality into things, I feel like, okay, I have to kind of keep an eye on this person, and I usually do. I'll keep. It's easy. Like everybody sees it. Like, man, that guy was talking crap to you, Ron. How do you like? I'm like, I don't try to take it personal. Like I take it as if like might be having a bad day. If it's consistent, then obviously then I'll kind of step in and then do something about it. But otherwise, I'm kind of like Rick too. I try to be a little more trusting with most people. I'm a little more forgetful. Forgiving, I should say, and I tend to give people more like second chances versus this like immediate, repercussions, punishment, that kind of mentality. So I'm not. I don't want to create a community based on that. I want people to have, some transparency to themselves because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. So and like I said, I'm still learning constantly in this space, through you guys, and everybody else. So
I'm about to go post a bunch of foreign cards with no timestamps to see how patient man is. As soon as we get off.
I also just learned something too. I think I might be the asshole in this call, because I am the person that the moment somebody does one of my no-nos, like you're done, period, end of sentence, you're cut off, like period.
By the way, can I say
I was
that
gonna
I'm
come to that.
5'9.5"?
Okay.
Can I say that I'm 5'9"? This whole time
5'9.5".
I look like a short king. Dude. I don't know how it's
I
gonna
told
be relayed
you.
on YouTube.
I
I hope people don't think I'm like 5'1".
I probably-
I'm gonna be.
I probably am the shortest one on this call, but
I'm not.
This just because, but yeah, but yeah.
But yeah, like
no. For me, like Joey, no. For me, I think the biggest thing is I get along with everyone really well. Like I'm the kind of person who one of my best friends is someone who I met on a train ride. Like I make friends super easily. Like I'll give you a very good
That
example
sounds
with
like
one
Harry
of the.
Potter.
No, I know, but it's not like when we used to be in India, railway is a big thing, right? So we used to travel by trains a lot. So, but a very good example is Ron. Like I literally met him at Gen Con last year because we were doing Gundam paintings, and we started talking. And now look, we almost call each other like once or twice a week to catch up, right? But for me, I think the biggest I want to say red flag is someone who can't hold like conversations in. That's a big thing for me, right? Like if I, for example, be like, and everyone on Haven knows this, that this is my biggest like I will get like very upset when this happens is, for example, like I'll give you just a hypothetical, right? Let's say we're doing an event in a month, right? And I'll tell someone being like, hey, we're going to be doing this event. We want you to come cast and we want you to do this, right? Next thing you know, they're on Twitter being like, hey, I'm casting for this event. Like for me, that's like, no, I didn't tell you I told you it's not public knowledge. I told you that it's not allowed. Why are you doing this? So for me, like if you can't hold that trust with me to keep it internal until it's officially public, like for me, that's like a big thing being like, nope. If you do that like once, like that's a straight like, yeah, I'm probably not working with you again. For me, that's a big thing. And then the second thing is loyalty. Like, but I guess both they go hand in hand, trust and loyalty. Like,
yeah.
and I tell even like all of my friends ask me like about my like personal like dating relationships and stuff, and I was like, yeah, like loyalty and trust are a big thing. Like those are, if those get damaged early on while I'm dating someone, it's a literal like, sorry, not gonna work out. Like it's a big thing. And I do that same with my professional relationships.
Yeah, I'm very much in the same boat of all of that, where like if you do anything that I can translate as a betrayal to me, I will talk to you, I will address it to you, and if I don't feel like there was actual reconciliation in that moment, you're done, you're gone, I don't care. You're irrelevant to me from that point on. But the other thing for me, like especially in the TCG space, which I believe TCG should always just be about the communities themselves. Like I pimp out my decks. I like my ult hearts as much as the next guy, but like I want it to be about the players themselves. If you do something that deprives the community of trusting you or trust within the community in and of itself, no, you're done. I hate you. You're gone forever. Like, if you cheat, and we're not going to say any names or anything, but there was a situation that happened this year with cheating at an event, you're cut off and you're done. Period. End of sentence. Like, I will not be able to engage with you in any capacity due to that, because I will not want to have you in my space. And it's the same thing in LGS. I've had multiple times at LGSs where someone got caught cheating. They allowed that same person to come in, and I would refuse to play alongside them, to the point where, like, you're being toxic. No, they're a cheater. They shouldn't be welcome here. You should get them out of here if you want your community to thrive. Which is like, compared to the other two people in the call, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm an asshole. All right, that's
Yeah. That's a really good point. Like, it's, people don't realize the damage that does, right? Like, oh man, he cheated. Like, okay, cool. Like, but what people don't realize is, like, especially when it gets caught, and I'm not going to say the game, I think we all know, when it gets caught in round 6 or 7, that's disgusting. Like, it undermines everything. Or like in one case where it happens at Worlds or a huge tournament, then you go back and find out it's been happening for years, and it's like everything is just, it undermines this is a game, like, and I love how when we were talking initially, like, we're not talking about how to fill our pockets, and like, it ruins it for the people that aren't looking at it like that, because most of the people that do that activity, the cheating or whatever you want to call it, misplaying intentionally, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There's some that are clearly cheating. When you show up with 5 copies of a card to a webcam turn, no names mentioned, that's intentional cheating. That's premeditated.
That's crazy.
Like, but apparently, like, you can just, keep doing that for years. And, the reality of it is, I will fall on 100 swords 100 times, because what people don't realize, tens of thousands of dollars have been accumulated that they don't have to return. Okay. I don't get to go take $60,000, $50,000, $10,000, $10 out of a store and not give it back, So it also deprives, outside of the monetary gain, it deprives it undermines the credibility of the entire tournament. Like, just one instance of that, especially if it goes multiple rounds. And
the integrity of the player base as a whole.
Well, imagine, but imagine somebody paid even $10. $10 is a lot of money, like, especially with gas right now. Like all of these things, like $10, even if they paid $10, $5, doesn't matter. Their value, and this gets into kind of like legally, like this is where I'm always big about value for value, which is why optional entry for Rumble Rama. If you pay us $5, you should be getting $5 in value. Anything that separates that is technically like getting into lottery and gambling. Anyways, but value for value, dollar for dollar. If somebody paid and someone cheated, they should get their money back, because the integrity of the entire thing is compromised. So that is actually, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is like the one thing that can ruin any community, and I've seen it happen elsewhere. I don't want that to happen here or anywhere else ever again. And I honestly can say that, like, this community self-regulates, so I don't ever see this being a problem. But if you see something, it's okay to say, like, hey, like, I've had people come, and I want to say this if there's any players watching. You can come to someone without accusing someone. You can say, hey, is this how this is played? Instead of saying, hey, I know he did this. And the response you'll get from me is, I'm going to go to one of the TOs, if anyone else was there. But I think that it's really important that people play these games, play by the rules. And if they're unsure about something, ask. Most people are willing to answer. And even if you're in the middle of the game and don't know how to do something, ask. I know that might be not acceptable at a super competitive level, but at the level that I'm dealing with Rumble Rama, there literally should be no reason for that. And so I know that might happen at the higher levels of competition, but I actually think that's probably my biggest pet peeve in any TCG in any business, is taking something that somebody else could have earned or deserved.
Yeah. And from the outside looking in, like, I've seen multiple other TCGs, because I knew how prevalent, like, cheating affected their community. It turned me off of your TCG immediately, and I'm not going to engage with it. Like, there was been multiples. I played Magic the Gathering for a very long time. I played it way too much. I did very well at it too. I'm not terrible at TCGs, guys. I'm actually decent. But, well, I was leaving that one because I got fed up with the community. I started noticing like, hey, there's other TCGs out there that I can try to experiment with and see how they play, see how it goes. But as soon as I heard about one where like, oh, this cheating scandal happened and a different cheating scandal happened the previous year and a different one, no, like I was immediately going to go, my time is not worth putting or investing into that because their community just has that as a staple. So like that's one of those things where like I will immediately shy away. If you guys ever want me to quit UA, put more cheaters in.
Also, Joey, I want to say one thing about this too, because I think we always look at like cheaters as bad people, and they are to a certain extent. The action was bad. There's so many reasons that somebody could do something like that, but I will say this: it also falls on us as managers and leaders of these communities, to step in at the first instance of that and to take everything seriously too. So it also falls back on us, I think, a little bit to manage that so that the game doesn't, because what can happen is you turn a blind eye to it and then it persists, then it becomes a pattern, and then multiple people, like then it becomes a culture. And that itself. So I think that it's also important to address it right away. I've had situations not where someone was intentionally cheating, but had misplayed and genuinely didn't know what they were doing. And once they were confronted, they're like, dude, oh my, thank you because I just didn't know. So I think it's important to never turn a blind eye and also own up to the fact that we can create a community and an environment that encourages that. So no names again, because it's not any one person, but there's several companies that do this. I do not. We're going to take this brand new game and do a $75,000, cash prize pool, right? So I think that there's a level to where the pricing of some of these mega events should match the amount of participants, and it should flow properly to where someone wouldn't be overly motivated. I'll put it like this. If I go take a serialized card, especially like a really expensive one in the UA community, and I put that up as a prize, I have to be prepared and responsible enough to have more TOs that night. I can't also just say, hey, I'm going to put up mega pricing and everyone's just going to be honest.
Yeah.
Like you gotta, and I understand that it's not, the burden is not on me to not, I think that part of it is also facilitating a healthy environment, and some of that is not overpricing, if that makes sense. So
No,
you can overprice events, and that will take a wholesome community and attract people that are not wholesome, bad apples, like Ron said. So I think that part of it is not that there's people in the community that are going to become bad. It's that you can attract teams of people that all they do full time is win TCG games for pricing. That is a real thing. So.
Okay. Do you two have any commentary on this one? We kind of got into the topic of cheating in the TCG space.
You brought it up, not me.
I know, it's my fault.
No comment. I feel like as content creators, like the one thing is, first of all, I've never thought of cheating, and second is I make sure I do my effects and everything properly, because I feel like as content creators, there's also this thing being like, I don't want that bad PR or that someone saying being like, oh, Div was cheating.
Yeah.
Just because I forgot an effect or I accidentally did the wrong effect. So I make sure I read the cards and everything and do them the best I can to the best of my abilities. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. There was a Rumble Rama I was in. One of the viewers in my chat at the end of the game was like, hey, man, you took an extra turn or an extra action on one of your turns. And like I went back, looked at it, I was like, oh shit, I did. And my opponent was like, you probably still won that. I was like, no, I lose. Like, here, you take the win. Like, I'm not, I lose that. I lost. Like, I made a mistake. I apologize. Like, that's it's the difference between malicious intent and integrity towards your community. And that's like the best thing. Like,
well
100%.
What I like about you guys. Yeah, Ron? Yeah.
No, I was just agreeing. Yeah, integrity is, you hit the word.
Yeah.
Integrity.
Alrighty. So I think it is about wrap up time. We have one community question that did come in. Gutless Miss. He wants to know if you have any big ideas for Gen Con, Ron, Div.
Oh. So somebody in the community, Angelo, he's got a team.
Jello,
he reached out to me
LLC.
About doing kind of like a community meet and greet. And I kind of like the idea. There's no fee, there's no sign up. You literally show up. If you're at Gen Con, I think it's at Saturday at 6 p.m. I've already told Div and his team. I've even talked to D3, just a couple of the guys that I talked to here and there. So I said everybody's welcome. This way they can kind of get to know the competitive side of the players. He's also hosting like a community tournament, again, free, nothing to sign up. There is a nice price towards the end of it. I think it's like a ReZero Bandai Card Fest playmat with the action points. So I thought that was kind of nice, and I think a couple of the other people too are throwing in some prizes. So that'll be all for just community. And I figured, you know what, that's a great idea. It's a good way just to kind of put faces to some of the community people that are involved in UA. Hopefully one day you, Joey, can come on.
I refuse to put on pants. Get one at Philly or New York. None of y'all are worth me putting on pants.
Yeah.
For. I'm sorry. No.
So yeah, I think that's one of the big things right now for Gen Con. So we're trying to find a good space. The space is kind of pending, but he's reached out some of his contacts, but we should have a table for us to kind of be there. So people can come there, bring their stuff, they could trade, they can talk game, talk shop, whatever they want. So it's kind of there with a splash of a little bit of a tournament. So anybody could join. So it'll be fun. And it's on a Saturday, before regionals. So people can kind of play loose, they can play test, they can ask questions. So anybody thinking about wanting to be more competitive on the UA side, I mean, you have, Div and his team, Tyler and his team, the D3, like you guys could talk to these guys who people would place in regionals. So definitely a good way to, get to know everybody else.
Awesome. Div was
got on legit vocals too, by the way.
Oh yeah. Dude does a lot of behind the scenes stuff for the community.
He needs to be on one of these roundtables. I'd love to pick his brain about some stuff. He's a legend. And same thing with Wobble. I haven't met Wobble yet, but everyone low key, I've heard Wobble's name from like everyone lately. I'm like, oh, that's the next. I'm just gonna sit back and wait.
Wobble's a great dude.
Awesome.
Everyone who meets Wobble loves Wobble.
Yeah.
FYI, Wobble will be with me during.
But it's so cool to see like. When I came in, it was two people. Cosmic, I think someone mentioned him earlier, Matt, and Eggman. And it was like that was it. And now it's like I hear like Div and Ron and Joey and Rogue and Ride and like so I feel like as it gets bigger, it's so cool to see that happening as well.
Yeah. I like all that. That's why I said everybody's got a different way of sharing content. And I love that everybody has a different way of take on it. So Wobble will be there too at Gen Con. So for everybody wondering what he looks like, he will be there in person. He'll be
bounty on pictures with Wobble. Bounty on pictures with Wobble.
My only condition with him was like if he ever wants to cast with me, he needs to have his camera on.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, we need to know what the man looks like. I'll call you handsome even if you're not, dude. You're good. You got this.
Yeah, no, he is a great guy. Really chill. I mean, a lot of you guys know how he is. So met him a while back in Colorado during one of my visits. I think it was like a One Punch Man rare battle. And there's this, I came in, they're like, who's this guy? I'm like, we don't even know him. End up winning their locals for the rare battle. And I was like, hey, thanks for the prizes. See you guys next time.
Thanks for the free stuff, nerds.
Yeah. And then when he joined the community, like the early one I was moderating, he reached out to me. He's like, hey, Ron, remember we met at Colorado at that One Punch Man rare battle and you beat all of us? I'm like, oh, yes, I do remember that. I still have the One Punch Man figure that I won from that. Yes. Pretty cool. But yeah, no, he's a really good guy. And I like a lot of the content creators. You guys, Dave Mosa's stuff too is pretty good. So, and I think D3 is going to start doing more stuff on the online as well too. So anything that to me that brings the highlight to the game is a good thing. I really don't see negativity to that.
Absolutely. No lies have been told so far. But for you, Div, are you excited for Gen Con for any reason?
I am very excited because I cannot show you my tattoo, but I do have a tattoo of Kurama from Naruto. Well, once I know what he looks like, maybe. But I have Kurama, the Nine Tails, on my shin area, on my calf. So I'm very excited for Naruto. That might be one of the games I might go completely 100% into. So for me, that is one thing. And then the other thing, Gen Con is also very a place for me to network a lot. So most of the time at Gen Con, I'm either going to be talking to people, either going to be like working with someone, or either going to be like making those connections, making those relationships, making those bonds. So if you ever want to like work with Haven or like want to talk to me about something, bend my ear a little bit about something, I'm there. Like I am there to listen to you. I'm there to work with you. I'm there to make that connection. So that's what I'll be there at Gen Con was. So that's when Ron reached out to me about this meetup thing. I was like, yo, this sounds like an amazing plan. So Haven's gonna try to bring something to give out to any people who come talk to our players. Might be some custom things that we might be giving out. So we'll again, no promises, but it's gonna be fun to meet everyone. Gen Con is always a good time. And we have to somehow get Joey to come to Indianapolis one of these years.
I refuse to put on pants. Anyways, that is everything we had today, guys. The last thing that we always do is to shout out who you are, and if you have anything that people can look forward to in the new future, just so people know yet again, like where they can find you, where they can support you, which is supporting the community as a whole, as all three of you are pillars in our community. So let's start with you first, Ron, then we'll go Div, then we'll go Rick.
So at UA admin, I mean, I'm trying to bring everything together as one. I do this just for the passion of the game. Again, all I want to do is just try to bring all the best talents into one space. That way, one day we can grow just as big as these other TCGs, so that we can see better allocation, better events, better, just all around different things that I think a lot of people have on their wish list for UA. So, and the only way we can do that is if we all speak as one voice, to be quite honest. So hopefully, and I want to add one more thing to that Gen Con event, because I forgot. Angelo's team is the LLC, so this is the poster that's in the community. So be sure to check that out. So
shout out to them too. They're making a lot of noise right now. Shout out to all them over there.
Hell yeah, love them. All right, Div.
You know where we are, GG Haven. We put out deck guides, we do tournaments. Again, without revealing too much, in about a month, we're working on a project that we've poured our hearts into, and that's why I've been a little under the wraps a little bit, because we've been working very hard on this new project, which you're gonna hear more closer to September/end of August. So I'm very excited for that new project. So keep your eyes up on our socials. Our new website is updated, worked a lot on it. So gghaven.ca has everything on it. So come by, look at this. I put my sweat and tears into the website. So I hope it is good. It has some nice motion graphics and shit going on. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Lastly, shout out to the community who has provided this amazing space to all of us at Haven to bring our creative side out. And it's everyone on this call, right? Like we all have full-time jobs, we have other things, we don't need to do this. We do this for the pure heart and pure passion of why we do this. So shout out to everyone who supports us and supports everyone on this call.
And then Rick.
All right. Yeah, just two things that people should be on the lookout for. More of these, hopefully, on a regular basis, where community members, influencers, creators, commentators, hosts, TOs. I never even thought about this till right now, but like store owners, that want to, talk about their experience. So more of these longer form, medium to longer form, sit downs, roundtables, ask me anything's kind of engaging with the chat. I think people should expect to see more of that.
On your channel, by the way, it's not going to be here. Experience.
Yes, we'll be doing those on my channel. And it looks like we'll be able to figure out the dual stream thing. Anyways, we'll figure out the technical side of it. But the biggest thing that I'm personally excited to share with people is kind of this, like, I don't want to call it a victory lap, like we've peaked, but like for me, taking the online success that I feel that we've accomplished and then bringing it back online. And originally I was going to call it XP Con. It was going to be XP Convention. We're renting a 9,000 foot dojo. I have seating capacity for up to 300 people. And this starts next Friday, by the way. I decided to call it Rumble Rama Live. That was in homage to what I feel like we got our start at, which was online. We're now bringing that offline. And so we have the capacity, Bandai, if you're listening, we have the capacity to run a regionals. I can have up to 300 people there. You know, and I just purchased 38-foot tables, that not the ones that fold in the middle, the strong ones, the sturdy ones. So, you know, it's like a lot of time, several months have gone into this. We're gonna have vending there, we're gonna have refreshments there, we're gonna have a retro video game corner with CRTs with Duck Hunt and all the old games. I have 18 retro consoles that are sitting in storage that are coming out for that. We're gonna have Lorcana events running at the same time as Magic events, at the same time as Union Arena. And so it's called Rumble Rama Live. If you're in Northern Georgia or Georgia, I don't know if it's big enough or worth traveling to yet, but the goal is that it's going to be so engaging and so exciting that someone might want to drive 2 or 3 or 4 hours to come to it. That the Rumble Rama Live is pretty much the biggest thing. So if you're in Northern Georgia and you're on the Discord or want to join the Discord, you guys can. It's just xpsga.com and then the dojo. So you'll see all the links to the dojo there.
I do want to add one more shout out because I don't want to forget this. But I got a shout out to the other admins, my other mods, you know, John, Sean, Kyle, Aaron, Tyler, Laska, Kevin, Tommy. Yeah, they're pretty active. You don't see them do it, but I see a whole length of activity that they do, from going through each individual, coming in and out of the community. We've kind of like established like this standard of who should be in the community. I mean, I go to the extent when I see somebody that doesn't even fill out like the questionnaire or whatnot, I make it known to them. I'll say, hey, I'm a UA admin. By the way, you didn't fill this out. Would you mind doing this? Because this is for bots and scamming. We just need to know you're a legitimate account. So like I go to that extent instead of just saying decline. You know, some people will do it, which I don't mind, but for me is my baseline standard. So as a group, we're trying to create like a standardization of the people coming in our community. Plus, I can really look into them. I can almost, I mean, I was so meticulous at one point. I'd look at their profile, look at a comment on a picture to make sure it's legit. I can see when they uploaded the photo. I mean, it was a lot of time back then when I was literally doing that all by myself. But now I can do it a little quicker now, and I have a good team that's been helping grow the community. And the only reason we've been going this far is because of their help as well. So big shout out to them.
Awesome. Yep. Don't forget to follow all 3 of them. They are linked down in the description below. You can also subscribe here if you would like. Follow me. That'd be great. And leave down in the comments, what other types of roundtables do you guys want to see? What questions do you have for any discussions that anybody might be having in the near future or anything like that? Be sure to comment down below, and we'll see you around in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks.